Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wingcat Sports. Today is our weekly Lions update by myself today, but we will get over what has happened through the week just before the Lions face the Packers. Most importantly, the injury report. Today's hasn't been released yet by the time I'm making this video. I don't got too much time after 2 o'clock to really work with it. But what has looked like positives for Decker and Montgomery, they have been limited in practice throughout this week. The only three people did not practice yesterday on Tuesday. That was Kabinda, Nelson, and Vaitai. I don't expect Vaitai to be there, and Nelson's not going to practice because he's getting surgery. So your offensive line is going to take a hit, but it is going to be good to have Decker back. He has been living in practice. Apparently, him and Montgomery are trending up. So it is a better chance that they do practice. We will play in the game. We will see if they actually end up playing in the game, though, or not. It's based on what really happens today once the injury report comes out. But from what I have heard, it's been positive. Um, Kabinda, right? Our fullback. Whether or not he's going to be there, that's more less for blocking purposes. They're going to have to figure that out in the back if they're going to try and run some like play actions involving some blocking or anything like that, or just basically the goal line running with blocking. Figure out who can be in the backfield. Maybe they'll move Laporta to a fullback position for like line or something like that to make that a little bit more interesting. When it comes to the Packers, not much I've heard. um, Jair Alexander did have limited practice yesterday, so maybe he's making some progress, but he did not practice on Monday, so I don't know if he will be ready. From what I've heard out of people who have not practiced but have started their limited practices who might show up, you have Christian Watson who might be coming back for Thursday's game, and Aaron Jones. So that is two big pieces to the Green Bay Packers offense that might be playing this week. We will again see once the report comes out later today on who exactly is playing and who is not playing, probably for tomorrow, and who's likely not liking all that stuff. But if we do get Montgomery back, that would be big. I still expect Gibbs, though, if Montgomery is back, Gibbs to have more of a load and not as much Montgomery, just so Montgomery doesn't get hurt as much. Um, Decker said he was going to be playing through all that pain, right? No matter how much pain he has, he wants to play tomorrow for the game. So we will see what ends up happening. With all these injuries coming back, it does lead into kind of who might have a little bit more leeway. I think the Lions are still slightly favored in the game, not by much, but slightly favored. There's no reason why they couldn't win the game, but there's also reasons they could lose the game, right? Your first away game, you beat the Packers 3 straight times. So we will see if the Lions can make it a fourth straight, kind of start reversing the trend that we've had over the past 20 or so years, especially at Lambeau. If you can win 2 straight games at Lambeau, that would be big for this team overall. That has not happened in a very, very long time for them to win 2 straight games at Lambeau. The fact that they even won at Lambeau last year was like their fourth time in my lifetime that they've even won at Lambeau. Most of those times, 2 of those times were in the 90s. And then one time Stafford did it. And then last year, that last game of the year. So it is going to be a fun game to watch. Hopefully, I can get a post game out pretty fast uh, the next day. I won't really have time with me working nights to get anything out right after the game. I wouldn't be able to put anything out till like 4 in the morning when I get off work. So it's probably going to be about midday on Fridays when we'll have a post game. It'll probably just be me. And then over the weekend, we'll get my dad and my uncle in on a video. That way that they can also be a part of the post game for whatever happens to give their opinion. But overall, when it does come to how this is going to affect the game on Thursday, the injuries for both sides, right? It'd be for Lions defense having to figure out on top of the defense that's already there, how are they going to end up stopping a rush attack from Jones? They've been pretty good this year on the rush defense. I think they've been fourth ranked so far throughout the year, only letting up 150 yards rushing so far this year. So that's pretty good. That probably will continue, especially if A.J. Dillon is the one starting and not Aaron Jones, because he hasn't done that well. So your run defense should have no problem. It's that passing defense. They did pretty well against Atlanta, but I believe Jordan Love is a better QB than Desmond Ridder. So we will see what ends up happening, especially if they get Watson back. That's going to add some dynamics for that secondary to try and stop. You're going to have more than just uh, Dobbs to try and cover throughout the game. You're going to have Watson there. You're going to have the new tight end they got Musgrove. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think, for the secondary compared to Atlanta, which will make the game interesting. And then when it comes to the Packers side of things, right, when you got Decker coming back, it's not going to be as easy to get to Goff. The offensive line already was doing pretty well. You're going to probably have Soar still starting for the Lions this week because Nelson getting hurt. So you're going to have that rookie offensive lineman, right? So that's kind of an advantage for Green Bay to try and get around Sorstel, maybe lean towards Decker because he's just coming back. But if Penny goes back to the right side of the line, we might have a good chance of figuring out stuff on that line, maybe making it not as easy. But I think the offensive line is going to be the big thing to look at for the Lions this week and how well they go into this week with having Sorstel and Decker on that line, with Decker coming back and Sorstel having to fill in due to injuries. When it comes to the Packers offensive line, they're still dealing with injuries too. So that kind of works in the hands of the Lions defensive line. If they can replicate what they did against Atlanta, it's going to be a difficult game for Jordan Love, right? There was a lot of pressure against Ritter. So if that can transpire into the Green Bay game, he might be running around a little bit, especially with Hutchinson getting through. There were 7 sacks on Desmond Ritter on Sunday. So if anything even close to that happens, or even relatively, at least a little bit, it's going to be a difficult game for Love, and he's going to be getting pressured. And if he panics, it's going to easily be the Lions game. If he can stay cool while he's there, then we are going to be pretty good on the Packers side of things, and he should be able to at least have a decent game. But we will see what happens. As a Lions fan, of course, I hope the Lions can pull it out. You start 3-1, that's pretty good. You lead the division, and then you keep on going through until you get JMO back. But with that being said, that is your Lions weekly update from the injury report side of things. Not too much different happening throughout this week. If you like what you see, right, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, share the video. And until next time, hope to see everybody soon.